Now all of a sudden they start saying, dang, I closed a deal, made $15,000, and I had to give $7,500 to my team leader, and they've never even met this person. They will leave you.
Hey, let's talk about splits.
Splits, like gymnastic splits?
Like how much money do I get to keep?
How much money do you get to keep? The way I relate splits is the greedier you are, the more attrition you have and the more you spin your wheels. You know, there's a lot of team, like if you're providing business, well, and this is on the loan officer side or the real estate side, if you're providing business to someone to help them grow their business, that's a value prop of why they joined you in the first place. But the problem that a lot of people have is they get greedy. They say, as an example, 50% on the business I give you. I'm okay with that piece because that client wasn't there to start with. If you would have not had that client, had it not been for either a relationship I have or the money I spent, that's a fair split. It's the way it should be. In fact, you could probably even get away with less. Because what that agent gets is consistent opportunity to build their book of business, and the holy grail of that is, yeah, you might not make a lot on the front end sales side, right? You might make on a $400,000 purchase, you might only make $3,000. One, it's $3,000 you didn't have, but the short-sightedness is looking at the money instead of the client. Now you have a client that you didn't pay for that can send you future business, which is self-gen business. And that's like at JMG, that is a huge value prop for us because what we always say is the domino effect of closing 25, 30, 40 extra deals a year here. Yeah, that front end deal, that first deal might not be as lucrative, but those people are going to refer their friends and family and the people that they know. And for that, they're at 80%, some are at 85% that are President's Club. And so we're not greedy on self-gen because what I found was if I'm the type of person that 50% on what I give you, but 50% on your own stuff, those people will leave you. You help them build a book and all of a sudden they're like, you know what? I got a book now. I'm not paying 50% anymore. So what they find is that over a year, 2 years, 3 years, they've helped this real estate agent or loan officer really build a solid book, but because they're greedy, they leave. People think they leave because they don't like the model anymore or this and that. They're leaving because it's too expensive. And what else happens too is the more and more that you give somebody opportunity for business and they close, the more self-gen that starts to come in from those people that they would have never had as a byproduct. Well, now they're busier on their self-gen. So now they've actively started working that self-gen business where it's now more of a bigger part of their business and they're taking less leads. That's a beautiful problem for everybody, by the way. That's what we find. We find that the majority of our agents, after time, they don't need as many leads because we've helped them build that self-gen book. But they don't leave JMG because we only take 20 to 15% on their self-gen. So what they say is, look, for 15%, I never want to give up the fact that I have a revolving door of new clients coming in. If it was 50% or even 40%, now all of a sudden they start saying, dang, I closed a deal, made $15,000, and I had to give $7,500 to my team leader, and they've never even met this person. They will leave you. I would leave that situation. The reality is the more that you can build through not being greedy, the more agents that you have that you don't have to retrain, and especially losing a good closing agent. To lose a good closing agent because their split isn't fair, you got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, maybe I should change my economic model here because losing good agents is the last thing you want to do. And so for those out there that run the model of we give out business, and because we give out business, we take a little bit more from their self-earned business, you really got to look at that model because you're not doing anybody a service by being greedy on that. You're hurting yourself and you're hurting that agent. I think there's value in like a scale of it. Start at 70-30. When you achieve this milestone, you go to 80-20, and when you achieve this milestone, maybe you go to 85. But to stay, it's flat 50-50 or it's flat 60-40, that sounds good when you look at a P&L over a short period of time. Where the P&L breaks is year over year, you got to add new agents into the mix because you've lost out on good producing agents. And think about this. Would you rather have a good producing agent that you're getting less on their self-gen, but they have a 30% conversion ratio over an agent that you're hiring that might have a 10? What I mean by that is they're closing 1 out of 3 and they left because you were greedy. And now you got an agent coming in that's only closing 1 out of 10, which means the opportunity cost of losing that agent was substantial because you lost a superstar. I mean, you got to really look at that. You don't want to lose a star, especially over being greedy on self-gen. So it's a real thing in our industry, and it's something that that everybody needs to consider, that not being greedy, there's a lot of advantages to that than just looking at flat economics of closing a deal. At some point, if you're 50-50 or 60-40 on self-gen, people are going to leave you. I guess what I'm saying is y'all should just come to JMG. Why not? Right, Bobby?
Yep.